We are going to start by reviewing what we did before break, so 15.5, and a little bit of 15.1, 2, and 3. And so you should have clicked on the link, obviously for this video because you're watching it, but also for the Classkick. If you haven't, please go and do that right now. And then split your screen between Classkick and this video because you're going to complete the notes on Classkick while you are also watching the video. So you're doing both at the same time. When you click on the link, it'll ask you for a name. Please type in your first and last name and only your first and last name. If you use a different name, I can't give you grades. I can't give you, mark you for attendance. I can't do any of that. And so I need you to please use your first and last name. That way I can give you those. Once you put in a name, you can't change the name. And so I need you to please put your first and last in there. That way you aren't out of luck the rest of this chapter, because we're going to use this same exact Classkick. This one, sorry, let me get there. We are using this Classkick for all of chapter 15. And so each day that I have notes, I will add a new slide to this Classkick, and then it will update for you automatically and add that slide in there. That way you can then go and participate in it. Like I said in my last video, I don't know what happens when you exit out and then try to go back in. I guess we will find out when that happens. But if you can try and keep it open, that would be the best bet. That way you have all of your notes in one place. But worst case scenario, we will figure it out as we go, because that's kind of what we're doing with distance learning anyway. We're all learning as we go, and so just be patient with me, because I don't really know how Classkick handles exiting out, and so I just thought it was a good way for me to get the notes to you guys. That way you don't have to handwrite everything, and it would be a nice way for you guys to be able to ask questions, interact with me, and all of that. So I can't actually write on Classkick because it would then show up on your screens. And so I'm still going to use OneNote. I copied the link or the same slides that you guys have onto OneNote. But that way you can see me write down the notes, show all the work, all the things, and you'll just complete it all on Classkick. So if for some reason your Classkick doesn't work at one point, you'll still have access to my notes. So I want you to always have a backup, and that's the backup. So you'll notice at the top of your slide 1, it says to make sure that you scroll all the way down to complete your notes, because like I said, if you don't scroll down, sometimes I'll have things hidden at the bottom, or the notes will go all the way to the bottom, but it won't show you that. And so I need you guys to make sure you're just practicing that scrolling down motion. Like on number 2, you'll see that you have to slide down maybe to see the second part. And especially on your homework, since your homework will also be on Classkick, you will also need to slide down and scroll down for that. So like I said, your homework is on Classkick today. So we're going to complete slides 1 and 2 together, and then slide 3 is your homework. So that's what you're doing on your own. So the video won't continue for slide 3. That's your homework done independently. All right, so let's get started. So it says to evaluate the expression. And so we are going to take the cubed root, maybe if it'll let me write. We're going to take the cubed root of 27. And so remember when we have that cubed root that that's a number times itself 3 times will give us 27. And so calculator, make sure that you're on that scientific calculator. And so we're going to type in 27, we hit second, and then we hit cubed root and enter, and we get 3. So this is just saying 2 plus 3, which is 5. So we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to take the cubed root of 8, and so that gives us 2. And so we have 1 minus 2, and so we get -1 for that answer. Find the missing length of the triangle. So this is using our Pythagorean theorem, which is, I don't know why that's there, a squared plus b squared equals e squared. And so we have an a and b, so we're going to do 21 squared plus 28 squared, and that'll give us our c squared. And so 21 squared plus 28 squared gives us 1,225 equals c squared. And then remember, we have to take the square root to get rid of that squared. And so we're going to take the square root. So if you hit second and then you hit square root, it tells us that the square root is 35. So c equals 35. So I'm going to have to do this one on your own. You're going to pause the video, and I'm actually going to check this for participation points. So I'm not actually going to put an answer until later on here. And so you're going to do this one on your own. All right, so go ahead and you'll need to pause the video for that. And feel free to pause the video throughout this because I am going to write kind of fast because there's like a time restriction on how long my video can be. And so if you need to pause it to write down everything, please do so. All right, so what is a rational number? So a rational number, remember, that is something that can be written as a fraction. So any number that can be written as a over b. So also with ClassKick, you can type or you can write. You do whatever is best for you or easiest or fastest. It does not matter to me, but you can click to type on there as well. All right, so what is an irrational number? So it's just the opposite. So it's any number that cannot be written as a fraction. Not written as a fraction. And remember, these are like our cubed roots, our square roots of numbers that are not perfect squares. So you might want to write on there not perfect squares or perfect cubes. And those are the only ones that we've learned so far. All right, so determine which of the following is rational or irrational. So we need to figure out, are they perfect squares? So we know the square root, there's not a perfect square, that's the square root of 14. Our perfect squares consist of 4, 9, 16, and so on. And so 14 is not a perfect square, so this is going to be irrational. The cubed root of 15, we have 1, 8, 27, and then we're going to keep going with our perfect cubes. And so we see that 15 is not one, so this is also irrational, which we learned how to do this during our last class. So now that's the first slide. You're going to go to the top of ClassKick, and there's those slides here. And so you're going to go to slide 2. And so again, it says make sure that you scroll all the way down. And so we are going to approximate negative square root of 27, the nearest integer, and then the nearest tenth. We did this in class the other day. So we're going to write down our perfect squares. And so we have, I'm going to start with 9, and then 16, 25, and then 36. And so these numbers were like 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, and 6 squared is 36. So we know that it's going to be in between these two. So we know that it's going to be 4 point something because it can't be 5 or else it'd be the square root of 25. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to go, we're going to do all 4s over here, but we're going to find point somethings to see which one gets us closest to 24. And so we know since 24 is only 1 away from 25, we know that it's going to be the upper side of our decimals. So I'm going to do 4.6 through 4.9, and we're going to square all of these to see what we get. So 4.6 squared is 21.16. 22, nope, sorry, I don't know what happened. 4.7 squared is 22.09. So once you fill out your chart, you'll see that this is 24.01, so it can't actually be 4.9. So we're going to call it 4.8, and it's roughly 4.8, but remember it's going to be negative because there's a negative up here. So this is our answer. All right, moving on. Approximate the distance between those 2 points. So -4, -3, 3, -5. Points are actually right here. So we have 1 point and 1 point. I just drew a grid. You totally don't need to, and I'll show you how in a minute that you don't need to do that part. But what we're trying to find is this section right here because we can't count diagonally. And so I made it into a triangle so that way I can find the side lengths. And so my side lengths here, this is at -3, this line, and this one, this point is at -5, so we know that -3 to -5 is 2 places, and then our distance across is 4 this way, and then 3 this way, and so 4 plus 3 is 7, and so now we can do Pythagorean theorem to find that highlighted, which would be our C segment. And so you also could have looked at it this way and done from 3 to 4, and you have to look at the absolute value of 4. So from 3 to 4, 3 plus 4 is 7. And then this are y values, so -3 and -5. So -3 and -5, that's 2 away from each other. So it's like you're subtracting 5 minus 3. And so you're just trying to see the distance between them is all that you're doing. And so you don't have to draw it, but you can. So now we're just doing like we did in the beginning, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then, so we have 7 squared plus 2 squared equals c squared. So we have 49 plus 4 equals c squared. We have 53 equals c squared. We need to take the square root of both of those to cancel that out. So we have c equals the square root of 53. And then we need to see what perfect square is 53 in between. And so 53 lies between the two perfect squares of 49 and 60. And so now we need to decide, is 53 closer to 64 or is it closer to 49? It's closer to 49, so it's going to be 7 point something. And so now we're going to do 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, and see which one is closer to 53 when we square all of those. And so I did that pretty quickly. Make sure you pause the video and you actually write that down, but we just did what we did before and above up here. And so you'll see that 7.3 is the closest, and so we know that, I don't know what's happening to my screen, but we know that our answer, so C equals, well, not equals, it's about 7.3. is our answer for that. And so for the next part, you are just going to do slide 3, and that's just your homework assignment.